What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on Electric Talks. Hopefully you guys are having a great day whenever you guys are seeing this video. Yeah, I actually have an actual microphone and I hope that it's working the way that I want it to work, but I upgraded my microphone situation, so hopefully you guys are getting better audio. So yeah, hopefully these videos get taken up a few notches with this one. So the last few weeks I've been wanting to make this video. I feel like it's actually probably been longer than a few weeks. I feel like I've been wanting to make this video for quite some time, and you guys have probably clicked on this video and you're wondering what's going on, what I'm wanting to talk about in this video. And before I get into everything, I want to get some things out there for you guys. I want to just issue a little disclaimer or a couple disclaimers for you guys. I'm also going to say this because every single time that I make videos like this regarding my health, it always comes down to you do food challenges. Therefore, you're feeling the way that you feel, or whatever's going on with you is happening because of food challenges. And I just really want people to understand that that makes up such a small percentage of my life, and that doesn't necessarily mean that what I'm going through or what I'm experiencing is because of what I do for my job, okay? Like, for example, I even had one person a few years ago, because literally, I'm not even kidding you guys, I fell off my bicycle. Literally had someone tell me because I fell off my bicycle, it was because of food challenges. Third reasoning or justification for that statement was because I eat poor quality food, my eyesight would have been better and I would have not fallen off the bicycle. Like, literally, I could, if I broke my arm tomorrow, like skateboarding, somebody would say, it's because you do food challenges. So you guys, my actual point is just keep an open mind. I realize that whenever I do make videos like this, I'm opening up like a floodgate for people to just like come in and make a bunch of assumptions. But I also realize that whenever I do make videos like this, I have an opportunity to help people out there that are struggling with what I've struggled with in the past. And that's why I'm really making this video. Which leads me to the other point of why I'm making this video is people constantly ask me like, dude, do you actually get blood work done? Like, and this is the video for that. So you guys will get to see in this video exactly what my blood work looks like. But before we get to the actual blood work portion of the video, I really want to take a moment to describe the past few weeks for me of what's gone on and what's been happening with me, because I've had a really rough start to 2021 and I haven't been very public with it. I've told a few of my close friends and people that I know, but the year didn't really start off very well for me. The last part of 2020 was awesome because I accomplished a big goal of mine. If you guys don't know, I wanted to ride my bike. I believe I did about 1,700 miles on my bike in December. And the end of 2020, I was very physically active. I was running, I was biking, and 2021 started and I literally just went from here down to here in a matter of days. And I couldn't figure out really what was going on, because I felt like I was doing everything right. My training was on point, my sleep was on point, my nutrition was on point, or what I felt was on point. And it's like I woke up one day and I just had zero motivation or desire to really do any of that anymore. And I'm used to having lows like that, but those lows usually last for like a day or two. And I usually kind of just come out of it. Like, that's just a normal thing to do, especially when you're an athlete and you're doing stuff like this every day, or it's a big part of your life. It's normal to go through lows like that, but these lows were lasting much, much longer than a few days. They were lasting longer than a week, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I legit did not know what was happening to my body and my mind. And that's my big point with this, is that it wasn't just fatigue that was just hitting my body. It was psychological. I was getting to the point where I did not have the motivation or the desire to really do anything like normal, like day to day. Like, I remember looking down, my shoe was untied, I went on a walk and I was like, ugh. I had that like that feeling like, I don't even want to tie my shoe. And I'm like, like thinking like, I'm not like that, like at all. That is not who I am. Like if my shoe's untied, I'm gonna freaking tie my shoe, you know? Just like the smallest things just seemed to really get to me. And I got irritated at literally every single thing imaginable. It seemed like everything was irritating me. It seemed like nothing could go right. I felt fatigue on a level that I've never felt before. And, you know, the physical part, like I mentioned earlier, was really hard, but the psychological part was really starting to hit me very, very, very badly. The first week of January, I had an amazing ride before all this craziness started. And I ended up doing like 11,000 feet, was super pumped to try to do this Everest. I got some great footage. I'll show you guys that right now. Let's do it. All right, so we're officially starting the repeat process, which is the not so fun part, but good news is that I'm feeling pretty good today. So I almost hit 12,000 feet. It was a big day, but literally that was the like last day, and then everything just went back down to what I just described. And the next few weeks, I would literally go out on bike rides, and I would get 20 minutes in, and my legs just seemed like they did not want to work at all. I remember just like huffing and puffing, just like, why I have shortness of breath right now that I can't even explain. I don't even know what's going on. The lack of motivation to even do the bike ride hit me, and I would literally get 20 minutes in to a bike ride and then just turn around and go home and just go on a walk, and that would be my day. And I could not figure out why this was happening. It happened literally every day for a week. This might sound very normal to the average person that's just like, oh, well, it's normal. You just, you know, you're burnt out. But if you guys know me, all of 2020, I was just boom, 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 boom. That was just routine. Like, that's just the way that I am. I'm wired to just constantly, you know, do stuff like that. And it didn't seem right. Like, to go from here to there in like literally a day or a few days, just, my point is I knew that something was going on. Initially, I was like, you know what, something's going on with my diet, outside of my challenges, something's going on with my diet. Maybe I should try something different. So I switched to a high fat diet. That was the first mistake. Meanwhile, during this time, I was also not supplementing the way that I should have been supplementing. I've posted on this channel before about the fact that I take vitamins and everything. I stopped taking all my fish oil, stopped taking all my zinc. I stopped taking all my CoQ10. I stopped taking pretty much everything like a week or two before that. Just like being lazy. I felt like garbage after that. Like I think I got like a few days into the higher fat thing, and I'm just like, nah, that's not happening. I felt even worse. And I couldn't really wrap my mind around what was going on after that. So then I went into an app. I've actually known about this for a while, and if you guys haven't heard of this before, it's called Chronometer. So what Chronometer is actually really good at, and if people out there that, you know, if you guys aren't into tracking macros or calories or anything like that, just skip over this video. I know people out there either for it or against it, but it is what it is. So this Chronometer is actually a really cool website, and this video is not, just no affiliation towards them at all. I've always been a really big fan of Chronometer. You can actually not just track your macros and calories, but you can also track your vitamins, which in my eyes actually is just as important as all of those as well. During a few of these really, really, really big low days, I went into Chronometer and I found that I was all over the place in terms of not really my protein, my carbs, or my fat, because like I know that I have no problem meeting those requirements out like in my day-to-day life. But my calcium was super high. All these different metrics were like super high because, you know, I was eating like a lot of particular foods. Like for example, my calcium was super high because I drink a lot of almond milk. Like a lot of almond milk. I remember tracking one day and it was like over 500% of my required calcium needs in a day. Like I screenshotted it. I was like, dude, that's whether it was my calcium, my potassium, whatever it was, I was starting to notice similarities in the sense that I was over consuming a few different things, and that may point to a direction as to why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. So I did what I needed to do, which was go get blood work done. So the first panel of blood that I got done, I'm actually gonna just go over everything here. I'm gonna go over like all the relevant stuff with you guys, because there's a lot of stuff on here that's really not relevant. Obviously, if it was abnormal or anything, I'm gonna post it here. I'm gonna post everything. But so the first thing that I got done was basically my blood panel. So the white blood cell count, red blood cell count, those were the first ones. So you guys are about to see the reference ranges for this particular lab, which will vary depending on which lab you get your blood work all done through. I go to a third-party lab and just order everything myself. So it's always super important whenever you guys are looking at blood work to know that the reference ranges are going to vary from lab to lab, but always interpret everything yourself, do your research. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So my white blood cell count, my red blood cell count, hemoglobin, hematocrit, all that is gonna be right there for you guys. So this is the thing that was not really that surprising to me. I'd known that endurance athletes in particular can have lower than usual red blood cell counts, and it's a thing. But to me, I looked at these numbers and I was like, okay, well, it says I'm in the green, so I should be good. Not necessarily. I'll go over that in just a little bit. My platelets and all that other stuff as well. Those will all be right there. My calcium, carbon dioxide, chloride, potassium, sodium levels, everything says normal. And then we have like my liver enzymes, those will be right there as well. And then we get into my cholesterol numbers, which is always a really interesting topic with people whenever I show these. Actually, right here it says, and keep in mind, this is actually literally like the second day on my high fat diet, which nah, it's not happening. So my total cholesterol is 205. My HDL cholesterol, which is your good cholesterol, is 75. My triglycerides are 77. My LDL is 115. So that's your bad cholesterol. That's not good. And then my hemoglobin A1C was 5.1. And then lastly, my total testosterone was 677. So that was the first time that I went in to get blood. And that was the first like, okay, I see that everything's happening. I see what's happening. I see what's going on. And so my first initial response to everything was like, oh my gosh, I have anemia. I'm iron deficient. I have all these things going wrong with me. I just want to get this fixed as soon as possible. And then I went and started taking like 65 milligrams of iron every single day. And I want you guys to understand that like when you see things like, you see like one abnormal result or something like that with a lab or something like that, don't just start impulsively doing things, because you really want to go over everything with the doctor first and just make sure that you're doing everything right. The iron supplement that I had been previously taking, I think I mentioned in a previous vlog that I was taking like 65 milligrams of iron at a time, and that is a lot of iron. I hadn't read on the label when I ordered it from Amazon that it's for people with iron deficiency. You know, I was taking it every once in a while. So I went in my cabinet and I started taking that every single day. And with someone with the red blood cell count and the white blood cell count that I had, it was totally unnecessary for me to be taking that much iron. So, but I was taking that every single day. And in the first few days, I actually felt pretty good. But then I started to get these blistering headaches. Like I would wake up at like 6 a.m. and my head would just be throbbing and it would be pulsating down my neck. And it would stay like that for like 3 days at a time. Meanwhile, I was taking vitamin C with my iron pretty much every day. And I'll go into this in a little bit. I was taking it the wrong way. And I was wondering, okay, like I may be feeling a little bit better. I'm getting through my bike rides. I'm doing the right thing, but I still didn't feel like 100%. And I didn't really know what was going on. I also started to just like pretty much shove as much iron into my body as possible, through, if you guys don't know, I'm not going to give you guys a full lesson on iron right now, but there's heme iron and there's non-heme iron. I started eating things like beef liver. I started eating beef every night. I started, you know, just pretty much just as much, you know, iron from animal sources as possible. I tried to get inside of me. So I was just basically shoving iron into my body and hoping that I would feel better. And I did not feel better. In fact, I felt a lot worse. And so another few weeks went by. I'm actually really glad this happened. I got stung by a bee a few months ago, and I have an allergy to bees. And so I wanted to get an EpiPen prescribed to me from my doctor. So he actually ended up, because I haven't been in like my physical doctor in a while. He's like, okay, we should actually go get blood work, just because I haven't seen you in a while. And he actually ended up getting my numbers checked again. And this is a few weeks after my last levels had been checked. I'm already off the high fat thing. I'm back on the bike, kind of just like, you know, before I was at like 10% energy level. I was like just kind of just getting through life. But now I felt like I was probably like 50 to 60%. I was, you know, still really bad headaches. And so these are my numbers. This was actually really important. They checked my ferritin levels. Ferritin's a very, very important metric to know when you look at anemia and iron deficiency. So my result was 71 nanograms per milliliter. I'm gonna put that right there for you guys. That was very important. That was something I should have checked a while ago. And then he also ordered an iron and TBIC test. TBIC is basically your total iron binding capacity. My iron came back at 84. Iron binding capacity came back at 331. Iron saturation was 25%, and my transferrin were 265. My CBC panel, which is the blood panel that I got earlier, I basically wanted to know if supplementing with iron was actually helping. And it looks like my white blood cell count and red blood cell count went down a little bit more. And my hemoglobin, my hematocrit, all those numbers as well went down a little bit more. And just for the people that were like, you have high cholesterol? Bro, I knew it. I got another lipid panel done, and this sounded a little bit like more like normal for me. So my triglycerides came back at 66, total cholesterol came back at 174, my HDL came back at 62, and my LDL came back at 99. So what I learned from these two lab visits, which were about 6 weeks apart, is that my iron levels, what I was doing in terms of supplementing with iron wasn't helping. And I realized upon further research that what I was doing with supplementing with iron was not effective, and my body was not absorbing or hasn't been absorbing the iron that I've been giving it. And this is very important, and I want you guys to understand that what I do and how I was able to correct this issue is what worked for me, and it may not necessarily work for you, which is why I'm letting you guys know that like this is not advice to go and do this. What I did is look back at how I've been taking my iron, which is every single night around 5 to 6 p.m. I would take it on an empty stomach, but after I had done my training for the day. And there's a level, I can't pronounce it. It's called hepcidin. Essentially, it impairs your iron absorption. And iron's so important, everybody. Like iron's an important mineral. I'm not going to go through a huge lesson on iron right now, but it's very, very important. And so I wasn't absorbing the iron that I was taking in because I was taking it at the complete wrong time of the day. I was taking it after exercise. On top of that, I also, like I mentioned earlier, have a very high calcium intake. So I was taking in my iron at the same time every day. And also I was drinking my almond milk, having my fat-free Greek yogurt every single night, and it was just doing nothing. So I got these results back, and I was like, well, I need to fix something because I'm just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. So I woke up the next day and I took my iron on an empty stomach, and literally, folks, within the matter of an hour, I felt like I had life again. I felt like I was a new person. Like I have no other way to describe that to you guys. And I loved it. I was like, wow, this is like, I felt like my legs could move again. I felt like I could think again. All these things, I felt like another person. And it's been about a week, and I feel like I'm better than I was before all of this started. And I am finally ready to move on again. And it's been great. I realized that this video has been like super long, and it is what it is, but I really wanted to make this so that you guys can understand, like, A, like this is what my health actually looks like, and B, you know, things happen like this sometimes. And it really, like, the previous way I would deal with this is I would just let it happen and just expect something to change. But what's that quote? Like, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's how I've been usually dealing with things. And I was finally like, I can't do this anymore. I need to figure out a solution. And that's exactly what I did. It's always important to be conscious of what's going on in your body, but it's never good to be like overly conscious with what's going on in your body to the point where you're obsessing over things and you can't stop thinking about what's going on with this and this and this. You will drive yourself crazy. The other thing that I learned from what I've experienced over the past few weeks is that it's very important to be diverse with your diet. You know, your diet is everything. And I feel like, you know, for me, like, if you guys want to really know like what I eat day to day, it is the same thing. Like I branch out, like if I'm out with friends or Christine and I want to go try a new restaurant, whatever. But like, I eat spinach, chicken, my fat-free Greek yogurt, my almond milk, rice cakes, some cereal, and, you know, whatever other like fun food I want for the night, which is like 1 or 2 other things. But like, I have no problem with that. You know, that's just, it is what it is. But when it's only that and it just carries on that way, it can potentially create some problems. So that's always really something to be aware of. But my point is that it's really important to always, if you don't have any moral or ethical reasons why you can't eat meat or animal products, whatever, just throw some variety in there in your diet here and there. And I just think that that's really, really important. If you guys take one thing away from this video, and maybe there are people out there that feel this way, that have been through health issues like I have in my life, but one of my worst fears is I don't want to get to the end of my life and, you know, be on my deathbed or whatever it is. And I don't want to feel like I missed out because I was living life or just existing through life, thinking, feeling suboptimally when I could have been so much more than what I was living at or performing at or whatever it is. If I can maximize my quality of life and I can maximize the way that I think, the way that I act, the way that I feel, whatever it is, I'm gonna do it. That's just the way that I wanna live. But anyways, folks, this is probably the longest video that I've ever made on this channel. Hopefully you guys took something away from this. If you guys have any questions or anything else, post them down below. I try to read as many comments as possible on this channel, but you know, it is what it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys have not already, and I'll see you guys in the next Electric Talks video. Later, guys.